Audio Dungeon. I'm your host, Tony Hansen, joined by Daniel Isgro. Today we'll be doing Hogar'S Journey. This is the next installment in his interesting storyline. Dan, how you doing today?
Feeling pretty good. Ready to get this underway.
Awesome, awesome. So, when we last left off, you went to Solst. This was the journey from you in the Red City after everything that happened, and you kind of made a journey all the way around to the east near Falindor, and then you ended up in Solst. You talked to Zarilius, who's now the head of Solst, and as you know, Zarilius pretty much said we're going to keep you as a guest for a while. Where we take off today, that while lasted a long time, and you find out that you were put into basically at first you were put into like a quarters that's kind of like not like nice, but you soon learned that the quarters are not actually anything but a really nice jail cell. So you've been here for a very long time. Your food is basically brought to you. Everything is done by magic, and you've been here so long, you actually can see the city, and but there's not much that you can do within this quote unquote cell or room. You've been here for a long time. You've been here for 7 years.
Oh, 7 years in Solst?
Yeah.
So during that time, in those 7 years, has anyone answered any questions for me or given me updates about what's happening?
Very little. If you want, I'll answer 3 questions about the 7 years, and that's it. And that's what you will find out. Every once in a while, you will see a guard. Every once in a while, they will take you outside, but you don't know much, and you haven't seen much.
Is Drogano destroying cities across Andaria?
In the 7 years, is Dragano destroying the city of Daria? Many officials in Souls believe that he has done that, but not in the overworld. He's done that in the dark.
He's destroying cities in the dark?
Occupying them or destroying them.
Huh. Wow. Okay. He would also want to know what happened to the Red City.
The Red City is in chaos. It was in civil war for a long time, and now it's ruled by Kanos, who people call, instead of calling the Red King, they call him the Red Goblin, kind of as like mocking him.
Okay. Does anyone know where the Blackwater Bandits are?
Um, Archie Fint is in Sunken City. No one knows where Thistle is, and the rest are teleporting into the future.
Right. Okay.
Need to get this camera higher. Go ahead, keep going. What do you want to do?
So I'm in these quarters, which I know now is a prison cell.
Yes.
Okay. And in all this time, I haven't been contacted by the Archmage.
No.
Does anyone ever come to see me at all? Or is everything brought to me magically?
For the most part, everything is done magically.
So how often do I actually see someone?
Maybe once a day, either very quickly. But I would say, if not once a day, every 3 days.
Do I know why I'm being held?
These are a lot more than 3 questions, but
Okay.
you don't know. You're not really sure.
All right. So I look around my room. Is it? Am I underground? Am I up high? Did
You're
this
pie.
count as questions, or
You-
can
You're
I ask
you're
you
up.
stuff like this?
No, no, it don't count. Doesn't count as questions. You answer anything you want to. You're up high, and you have. If you were paying for this room, you would love it because you have a great view of the
Okay.
harbor and the city, um, and you see the port looks very, um, very still. Not a lot of things going on
How high up am I?
there. It's got to be about 4 or 5 stories.
Okay, not bad. Do I have bed sheets?
You have bed sheets.
Okay. Is there any rope in the room?
No.
Okay.
You,
What's directly down below me?
hard to see. There is a balcony to the room, but you're unable to leave the room.
Why?
Some sort of force field.
Magic?
Definitely.
Uh, okay. Uh, and I'm gonna have to search the room to see if there's any kind of any way I can get out. I'm looking for typical stuff, maybe a loose brick or loose floorboard, something like that.
Trying to maniac mansion your way out of this one.
Yeah.
um, you search around looking for anything. So there's no wood in here. It's all stone.
Okay.
Um, as for the structural makeup, there's a bed in here. There's furniture in here. There's a lot of garments everywhere. It's actually a beautiful room. It looks like a guest quarters. Um, there's a bathroom in there. There's little trinkets and things, knickknacks and on the around the room and such. But that's about it. And there is a door in the room, but again, the door is force field, just like the balcony is.
So every exit is force fielded.
Yeah, you think that it's more than that. It's around the entire room.
Oh. Okay. You know what? I'll try to contact the Archmage. See if I get any answer.
Okay, roll d20.
Adding anything to it?
No, just roll 'em.
15.
No answer.
No answer. Okay. The next time a guy comes up to me, brings me a meal or does whatever, uh I'll ask him if I could speak to Zerilius.
Okay. Someone comes in. You ask them if you could speak to Zerilius. Let's see his reply. We have a fan with us right now watching. Enjoy.
Woo!
We're actually recording this right now, just putting it up just in case something goes wrong. So I'm going live into YouTube just as a backup. So yeah, you get to enjoy the show. Let's roll this. So a wizard basically comes in. He kind of just checks on the room. He walks through the door and passes through the force field with no problem. Um, and then looks around. You see him kind of basically just inspects the room, and then he leaves.
Excuse me. Excuse me,
He,
wizard.
he just walks out.
Okay. Did he bring me food?
No, not in this case. Most of the time, the food is like teleported in.
What did he do?
Just inspected the room visually.
Okay. I go to the window.
Okay.
I yell out the window to anyone who's downstairs.
You yell at the window, trying to yell through it, and you don't see um, any effect. In a
So I get
distant,
the idea. that it's blocking my keeping the sound in too?
You don't know.
Don't know.
In the distance, you see the marketplace, you see the harbor, you see the walking towers in the middle of the lake, but you don't see anybody reacting to what you're doing.
Okay. I look underneath my bed. Is there anything there?
No.
Okay. Do I have any of my gear?
Yes.
Everything?
Yeah.
Okay. This is
So right now we're representing the what you've tried over the 7 years, or probably what you tried right away when you first got in. So instead of
yeah.
starting from the 7th year mark at this point, this would be the moment basically where you realize a few days in that you're trapped, and then maybe we go a few days after that, we start trying to figure another way out. You get down to the routines. This is where we are now. I'll let you play this for another minute or two, unless you have some kind of sort of success.
Okay. No, I want to take my sword and try to hack away at the door. Do I do any damage to the door or am I just hitting force fields?
You see that it partially damages the door, but it hits the force field also. It doesn't seem to have any effect besides damaging the door.
Okay. Um the force field. Do do I get the feeling that it's blocking the door? You know what? Whatever. I want to try to open the door. Is the door locked?
The door seems to be partially within the field. You're
Okay.
unable to interact with it.
Okay. So I'm being blocked by the force field from even opening the door.
Yep.
Okay. Anything on the walls? Any torches, sconces, or like
There
a statue with an arm like this?
are no.
Books. Is there a bookshelf?
There is a bookshelf, and the
Oh,
bookshelf it has books on history, all different things of the wars of Andaria. And you do see sconces in the wall. The sconces are actually closed and they're lit up. And it seems to be some sort of magical fire inside.
okay. How many books on the shelves?
Countless. It's got to be like a couple hundred.
Are there any books on the ancients?
Yeah, there is.
All right, I take a look.
Okay, you start looking through the books on the ancients. There's a book that basically covers everything that's known about them, and it goes from each ancient one after the other.
Okay. I want to look specifically for information on how to kill an ancient or how an ancient dies.
You find no information. This means you've been reading it for a few days. You'd find no information on that.
Nothing at all.
No, not in this book.
Okay.
This book's more an overview about the ancients.
Like a history?
Yeah, it's about what's known, how they are. If you want to
What
ask me,
about
a question
um
about the ancients, you can, since you have the book.
what about how they were born? Anything about their birth?
Brief mentioning in the beginning of the book, it basically just mentions that they were created by Andaria um, as the mother and Andar or Dragano as the father, depending on who the ancient is.
Okay.
All
I
the ancients,
assumed
all the ancients were birthed by Andar, except for the queen and the archmage.
they were Dragano's kids.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any information in there that we don't already have about the ancients? How about their crystals? Is there any information about their crystals?
No.
Nothing.
No. No one knows where the crystals are.
What about maybe not location, but any information about the link between the crystal and the ancient?
People talk about how the crystal is their life force, how Andar did that to them. They saw it as um, a punishment of some sort because before the crystals, their power was infinite. and now every time they use power from their crystal, it's them using their own life force. So it made them become very reserved about doing anything.
So they don't want to use the power of their crystal because they're expending their own life when they
Yes,
do that?
imagine their power was their hit points,
Mm,
and they could either have it for health or they could use it for power.
okay. Does it say anything about what happens if a crystal is destroyed?
Um, no, it infers that um, it infers that they believe if the crystal was destroyed, then the ancient would cease to exist, and that is the only way an ancient would cease to exist. No matter how you think they could be killed or whatever, the crystal has to be destroyed. Everything else is temporary. That's probably the closest you can learn to what you want to learn. Dale Henderson's watching right now. Just asked if you could dig your way out. You cannot dig your way out. It's actually in a high building um, in Solst, in the center tower, actually. And it's, if it wasn't a prison, it would be a very beautiful hotel suite in a wizard's city.
And books, I have books.
And we have books, yes. And there's no way to dig out. The force field's all around you. It's basically
Okay.
within the walls.
Okay. What about Drogano? Anything on these books about Drogano?
You do see some books about Dragano. Dragano is talked about in some of the books as a hero, not a villain, saying
Really?
that, yeah, saying that he was um, basically blindsided by Andar, and Andaria put him basically at the center of the planet to protect him from Andar. And Andar had to cease attacking Dragano because Andaria encapsulated him in the core.
So, oh, you're saying Andaria encapsulated Drogano in the core to protect Drogano from Andar?
Yes,
Why was Andar attacking Drogano?
because he was mad that that Dragano coupled with Andaria and created two beings.
So, what was the relationship between Andar and Andaria? Was it like a traditional marriage that we would know of, or was it something different or something that we may not understand because they're
Unknown,
celestials?
unknown, but it is inferred that it's something of a they were together.
Andar and Andaria?
Yes,
So, do you get the impression that Andaria betrayed Andar's trust when she had two children with Drogano?
from Andar's perspective, yes.
Are the Archmage and the Queen twins?
No,
Okay. Was Andar trying to kill Drogano?
unknown. Nobody knows that.
Are there any tales in the book of, let's say, a battle between Drogano and Andar
That was the only battle.
after Andar found out about Drogano and Andaria having children together?
Yes, it took place in like the heavens.
What's the story of the battle?
Um, there's not much.
Were either of them hurt?
Yes, Dragano was
How badly?
not bad enough to be like mortally wounded in a sense, though he's not immortal.
Was Andaria afraid for Drogano's life?
Yes,
So she thought Andar could really kill Drogano.
you can infer that.
Does it say how?
No,
Okay. So we know that Andaria housed Drogano in the core of Andaria, the planet, to protect him from Andar. After that happened, what happened between Andar and Andaria?
Um, Unknown. They still exist in the same more physical universe, and Daria rotates around Andar, the sun. So the planet rotates around, except that instead of having a binary star system of the two suns, Andar and Dragano, you only have the one. And the planet is basically like reformed around Dragano at its core.
Hold on a second. So Andar is a star?
Andar's the sun.
Andar's the sun. The sun revolves around Andaria?
The opposite.
Andaria revolves around the sun. Okay. What other books are there?
Basically anything.
Really? I'd like to look up a book. Let's see. How about the history of Solst?
Okay. Ask questions.
Okay. Um, how does Solst become a place that's, mainly housing wizards?
So Solst during the first Celestial War, the ancients created beings that they thought in either not in their image, but just beings that they wanted to create where they thought was a proper imagination or imagining of. So the Elven Lord created elves, and the Dwarven King created dwarves. The Red Knight created dragons. The Keeper created humans. The Collector created the halflings and the gnomes. The Queen created fairies, angels, demons, and a few other creatures. Um, the Archmage created a whole assortment of beings, and he also took what the other ancients, his siblings and step siblings did, and he kind of created different um, combinations and amalgamations of what they did, and he created what people know as monsters and all sorts of different beings. Um, After a time, the mortals of the world of Andaria, began to kind of follow. Or remember, we're talking about very beginning ancient culture, started to form around different belief systems and who they believe, who they wanted to follow. Many began to be intrigued by the Archmage and how he. It's almost like they saw the diversity of what he created. He created a whole assortment of things, and the more that they did that, the more that uh, kind of the bond between him and his followers became. And the Archmage began to realize that he could encourage his followers to do kind of what he did, to allow them to create their own things. So that was kind of the birth of magic for mortals. So he was known as the Archmage, like the greatest wizard, and he passed on the knowledge to the Lightborn of his choosing, and the culture and society started to arise that was based around what they called magic. Now, magic has many forms. The Elven Lords, the elves cast magic, and there's different types of magic, and there's different types of magic by culture. There's different types of magic by learned ability, but that is just one perspective of how magic came to being.
Okay, so the Archmage basically passed on magical powers to non magical beings.
Yes, the teaching them how to cultivate light into magic.
Oh, he taught them.
Yes,
Okay.
starting with his Lightborn.
Okay. Who is now the ruler of Solst?
Ceruleus.
Aurelius? Okay.
Aurelius has had an interesting career. Um, what you know or heard about him, he basically is one of the few individuals, a few mortals that are not from Andaria. So Two Mage was not from Andaria. Hadhill was not from Andaria. Thawen obviously is not from Andaria. Um, neither is Aurelius. Aurelius is a wizard from the prime material plane that found his way through during the convergence.
Mm. Is it understood that if there's a mortal who's not from Andaria, they were able to basically plane hop during the convergence?
I don't understand your question. Ask it again.
If there's a mortal like Zorilius, let's say, for example, or Hadheld, who are not originally from Andaria, is it safe to assume that they got here from another plane during the convergence?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And Hogar has not learned it enough. I'll explain it as a DM, but Hogar would not understand this way. If somebody was trying to travel into Andaria, which is considered like the plane in the middle of all existence, if they traveled before the convergence, they would have been stuck in a kind of purgatory or half life until the convergence happened. And then they either passed through or they were reborn or certain things. However, they did it.
Is there a book about the convergence?
Yes, there is.
Okay. I want to read that book now.
Okay, ask a question.
Is it known what everything was like before the convergence?
Oh yeah, the convergence was only now it's been 99 years ago.
As of when? When I've been in Solst for 7 years, or when I was
Oh,
captured?
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is right after. This is before 22 years, so it's like 77 years.
Convergence happened 77 years ago.
Yep.
Okay.
People blame people blame the convergence as being what's going to bring on the celestial war, or for what's happening now, the second celestial war.
So, eh, the convergence happened 77 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Who who lived on Andaria before the convergence? Anybody?
Oh yeah, normal society as you know it. Convergence.
Mortals?
The convergence. Yeah, the convergence wasn't the beginning of existence or anything like that. It's just like an event, like a meteor comes tomorrow in the real world and it does whatever. The world had existed before and it'll exist after, in some sort of form. The convergence was a change, like an altering of reality.
The convergence. I'm trying to remember how you described it.
It's
Um,
it's basically like a universe decompressing into a sun or a black hole.
like an opposite Big Bang.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. What does it say about in the book? Does it say anything about the world that the keeper created?
Um, not much is known about that, but they call that world the material world.
Is that the prime material world?
Yeah.
So that's where Zorilius Thawen came from.
Yes, everybody. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there a list of people who came to Andaria from the prime material plane during the convergence in the book?
Roll d20 and add your
Mother.
intelligence.
Okay. Well,
I wish I hadn't had my intelligence.
not bad. 14.
14. You know that there are. I'm going to add it up right now. So people that have come, like people that are from different worlds, like Thowin's light was stolen and he was rematerialized in, right? But there are very few people that physically, in their physical state, mortal state, were able to cross through. It is known that there are at least four people, four mortals that did this. I'm sorry, there actually is more than that. Yeah, there's at least four that are known. No, that's actually a correct answer. Four that are known.
So is that Zorilius Thowin?
That one was recreated. He didn't pass through. He didn't walk through, or he didn't
Oh, I see.
or he didn't teleport
Okay.
through. Yeah,
Zorilius?
so release is one.
Hadheld?
Hadheld's two.
Alabaster?
No, Hellbaster chose a different way to go through. Alabaster allowed himself to be reborn so he could hide from Dragana or any ancients that might want to kill him.
Huh. What about Kanos?
Kanos was materialized. He was grabbed by Dragana.
So Zorilius and Hadheld. Okay. Is there any significance to this?
Two.
I mean, immediately too, or am I just gaining knowledge here generally?
You're just gaining. Well, I don't know how to answer that. I can't answer it.
Okay. I can't. It's just like I'm trying to like get information and kind of put pieces together, but it's like I can't figure it out. Like this is good. This. I feel like I'm getting good information, but I just can't. You know, can't make any connections between what's happening. Now that Drogano is out, maybe I found this in one of the books. Since Drogano had gotten out, I don't know. Is it assumed, based on what I'm reading here, that he wants to destroy Andar?
Yes.
What about Andaria?
No. But he
No.
but he like almost loves her and hates her at the same time now because like she's the one imprisoning him and he feels like he should be free to fight Andar. He should be in the sky. And basically the soul system is ruled by him. It is Andar. It should be Dragana. That's what he feels. He's worthy of it. Is what he feels. And again, it's you inferring all sorts of things from reading different books.
Is there anything in any of the books about Andar like that present him as a hero?
Yeah, they all start that way. That Andar created everything that the world is and existence as they know it. Andar is seen as a hero, as the person who's um, keeping balance amongst the ancients. Just a simple fact of him creating soul crystals for all of them.
Okay. Do we know why Andaria got together with Drogano to give birth to the Archmage and the Queen? Why did she seemingly betray Andar in that way?
The only talk about that is that there was a brief absence of Andar.
Andar was gone.
Briefly.
And that's when Drogano and Andaria got together. is there anyone know where he went?
Roll a wisdom check. Roll very high. I'll give you a very accurate answer.
Ooh, I'm proficient. 15.
Now, if you want to use a reroll, you can.
Okay.
Rob's burned a few rerolls in Arky's journey.
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't told anybody yet. He burned, I think, about 3
Totem?
from the totem. Yeah.
I'll use my. I got a personal stash. All right, let's try it again. Oh, 1. I'll use one more. Can't get any worse than that. Man, okay. Here we go. Yeah, natural 20.
You went from 1 to 20.
Yes.
The core in 20. Okay, so I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. And this is over years of you reading the books and extrapolating data, things like that. Obviously Hogar'S not very smart, but you are wise. As you've learned about astronomy and about the stars and the planets, you're pretty sure that it was an eclipse,
An eclipse.
a lunar eclipse.
So a lunar eclipse occurred.
And Daria has 1 moon, if you remember. It's called like the red moon.
So order of events. A lunar eclipse occurs, which means if we're on Andaria, we couldn't see Andar in the sky.
If you're on Andaria, you can't see Andar in the sky. Correct.
During the eclipse.
Oh wait, am I saying the wrong eclipse? It blocked out the sun, so it was a solar eclipse. You have the moon because in front of this. Yeah, I've said it wrong.
I don't know.
So yeah, so I'm sorry. It's a solar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse.
So it's basically the moon passing in front of the sun.
Yeah, solar eclipse. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know the difference. I wouldn't have corrected you anyway. Okay. So that was seen as Andar being gone.
Solar eclipse is where the sun is in front of it. He's putting Dale's putting the definition. It's like I know, but I'm getting confused. Let me look it up.
I know.
Lunar eclipse occurs when the Earth's shadow blocks the sun's light.
Earth's shadow. So what is it when the moon passes in front of the sun? What's that?
A solar eclipse.
Okay.
And when the Earth blocks the moon, it's a lunar eclipse. Yeah.
Earth blocks the moon.
Yeah, as I say it now, it's very obvious. It's just that to think of it in the moment, I couldn't think of it.
I see. Okay, I got it.
Yep.
So order of events, there's a lunar eclipse, the red moon.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, Dale. So the red moon blocks Andaria from being able to see the sun, Andar.
Yep.
Okay. So during this time, Drogano is another sun, is a binary sun.
It's a binary system.
Binary system, but he's the second sun.
He's another sun. Yeah, he's not. He's like yes, I'm trying to think what information to tell you. Yes, he's another sun.
Okay. So at that point, that's when Drogano got together with Andaria.
Yeah. When the lights went down, things got crazy.
Hmm. Does the book say anything about how exactly it happened?
No.
I'm just having trouble visualizing it though. So if Andaria is the world of Andaria, Andar is a sun, Drogano is a son, how do they create a child? Do they take on mortal forms?
You don't know the answer to that.
Is the red moon as a celestial body also an ancient or some type of celestial? In the same way that Andar is a star and Drogano is a star.
You don't know the answer to that.
The red moon has to be. Is there anything in the books about the red moon?
No. Not a lot's known about the red moon.
Okay. 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 Trying to think.
It's weird going from Morty Dungeon to Patreon because you go from barely getting any time into having all the time, right?
Yeah. Just got to keep going.
Right.
Okay. What about the crystals themselves? Is there any book on the crystals?
The soul crystals, of the ancients. Or you're talking about the other crystals.
Let's say for now the soul crystals of the ancients.
Um, no, there's not much.
Okay. How about crystals in general?
So
Magic
there,
crystals.
so there are some books that have been made in the last like 30, 40 years, like one in the last 30, 40 years, and then in the last few years, a couple more. And basically, people are just talking about that they believe that because of convergence, because the amount of light and matter and energy that was compressed into a small area, um, it's the magic and the crystals kind of, the light and the crystals kind of combined um, because of the fusion.
So the crystals basically house the light, which is like kind of left over from the convergence.
Crystals are the only thing that can house light that is not a mortal organic being.
Okay.
So anything organic can house light, like you think in the real world, where a plant receives light or a person absorbs light. A crystal is the only other thing that can do that.
Okay.
So the crystals were a byproduct of the convergence.
I just had another question about crystals. Um,
We're gonna get one.
can crystals be created now?
Crystal, it is okay. You find some books where you talk about creating crystals, and basically the only thing that they figured out is that it can be created with dragon fire.
Okay. Does the dragon fire also infuse the magic into the light and magic into the crystal?
They're not. They're not sure. So like it's almost like the light kind of absorbed into like this crystalline dust that is found in caves and such. And a dragon fire can actually fuse that dust together into crystal.
Ah, okay. Are there any books on the dragons?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at the dragon books.
Go ahead. Ask away.
Okay. Dragons were created by the Red Knight. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, correct me if I'm wrong, but he wanted to create the perfect beings. So he used up a lot of his light energy to create the dragons. And when he did, he kind of made himself a little more vulnerable than the other ancients who created humans,
Yes.
monsters, halflings. Okay. So did the dragons come into being long after all the other races were created?
Yes.
Okay. Um, what were things like when the dragons were around? How were they seen? How were they treated? How common were they?
When they came out of nowhere, and they were feared because it was during the Celestial War, and it's what ended the Celestial War because the war is being fought through proxy by all the mortals fighting for the ancients. And the dragons were kind of just like decimating the planet. If you look at the map, you'll see a lot of areas are just like black. They're all charred and um, destroyed. So the dragons are feared incredibly. And after the war ended, when all the ancient stuff stopped fighting each other, they kind of just started trying to defend themselves because the dragons went wild, and that's called the Dragon Wars.
This was the dragons fighting.
Mortals. First, the dragons did fought for the Red Knight, and then as it kept going on, they were like, "We should be in charge," and they tried to take charge.
Did they actually try to fight and kill the ancients?
They searched for. Supposedly, they were searching for crystals.
The soul crystals.
Yeah, they believed they were searching for soul crystals, but no one ever knows what happened with that.
Do they know what happened to the dragons themselves?
Um, Ember was a dragon that people have known about for Sunken City. There's a lot of stories about why Ember was there. There was another dragon that was encapsulated by the elves and the dwarves working together. That dragon was named Leonis, and that dragon was freed around the beginning of Audio Dungeon. And that dragon showed back up in Audio Dungeon twice, if I'm correct, as that skeletal dragon that you guys faced.
Oh. Why was he freed?
He was freed by mistake. At a game, he was freed by in a side quest because every time I play with somebody, they affect the world, and they had an option to open a giant magical gate. They chose to. They went down a dangerous area. They went off the quest even further, and they pushed the envelope to get to a certain place, and then they opened the gate and they freed the dragon.
Is he controlled by anybody?
He was controlled. By then, he wasn't. When he was freed, controlled by nobody. But then he was captured. He was captured by Solst.
Where is he now?
Destroyed. Dead.
Dead. What about the stories of Ember? Why was it? Why was like the most powerful, one of the most powerful beings in Andaria, using his fire to just power a city?
So the stories go that Ember made a deal with the gnomes, and Ember desired to basically create a horde, like as it's known for dragons.
Okay.
And supposedly the gnomes made a deal saying that, well, we can get you gold and all sorts of things, and you'll be powerful, and things like that. That's one of the main stories about how it started, and that was the birthplace of Sunken City, and it was the first city that's considered a free city because it wasn't a city that gave allegiance to one of the ancients.
Okay. Any other dragons that are known besides Ember and Leonis?
Leonis. No, not right now.
Leonis.
There's some. Give me a high wisdom check. Give me above a 16, and I'll tell you something secret.
Ooh. Above a 16. Okay. Yes. I rolled a natural 16 plus my wisdom is 21.
How very convenient. Natural 16. Oh, 16.
Natural 16.
Okay. It is believed. Many believe. This is the rumor. Many believe that at least one, if not more, dragons hid as mortals, staying loyal to the Red Knight, staying within the Red Kingdom somewhere.
Really?
Yes.
Is there any way to tell who they are?
How many rerolls do you have on you?
How many rerolls?
Yeah.
Two. Those are my personal ones. Those are not the totem rerolls.
If you burn both rerolls, I'll tell you a big secret that no one in Ori Dungeon knows yet.
Now, is this going to be how to tell who they are?
No, I can't. No, I can only tell you the secret or not tell you.
Oh, yeah. Take my 2 rerolls. 0 rerolls now.
Okay, you go through. This is again over the years. You're going through a lot of different books and things like this, and you're coming across different logs and different things and people. Because in here, again, these are all the books of like all society has, and the Keeper is known for having that, and apparently Solst has those books, and for whatever reason they made them accessible to you, so they want you to read or whatever. Um, as you go through it, you find logs of all different people, and Dale writes, "Yes, so glad I caught this episode." So you come to the conclusion that, well, I'll tell you a different way. From what you read, all different dragons, you don't find out much. But there is something that leads you to believe that the dragons were mad at any dragons who stayed loyal to the Red Knight, seeing that as a betrayal.
Betrayal to like their own kind?
Their own kind, because they see like Red Knight created us for what? For destruction? We're not created. But look at us. We're magnificent beings with an incredible amount of light. We're between Lightborn and Ancient. Why are we just used as a tool for war and then what? Bred for nothing. Like they hated that existence. Bred for no purpose other than destruction. So any of the dragons that stayed behind, which were apparently a few, which you believe there's at least one and no more than 4, and they mock each other. And a name comes up every once in a while as a name that kind of stands for you don't know which side you're on.
What's that name?
You think of that name? The name stands, it's a name of a character in the story that the name can be interpreted as a duality.
In real life, in our world, or in Andaria?
No, in story, in Andaria. A character has a name that can be interpreted as duality.
Bellaman?
No. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. That's kind of like The Witcher. The Witcher was that guy was a dragon. When I saw The Witcher, I turned to my wife Teresa and I was like, "Look, it's the same thing."
Onyx?
I, yes,
Really?
yes, black and white.
Yes. So that means like not knowing where you stand.
Yes.
But that now this is a word that the dragons throw around. Like you're an onyx, you're not making up your mind or something like that.
They just call because they talk about the different colors of the dragons and different things like that. So onyx can be black, but sometimes onyx can be black and white. So instead of his actual color, they call him onyx. Instead of saying you're a friend,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you're two faced. That's what they say.
I see. So he's a dragon.
Yes. It's a huge reveal on Patreon. So Overwatch right now, they've got something really big.
Do we know where he is current day?
No. I think I mentioned on season about where he is, but I don't know. I don't know if Hogar doesn't know. You wouldn't know where. I can't give you the information to Hogar. There's no
Yeah.
way of him knowing.
We're in a different time period anyway.
Yeah, and this one and that one, yeah. Hogar wouldn't know either.
Okay.
For anyone watching right now, this is 1 to 7 years after um, season 3, episode 24, Trial by Fire.
Is there any information about where the dragons went?
No, that's a very sought after answer.
Is it kind of assumed that they have a purpose or that they went somewhere with a purpose?
No one knows.
Or were they just trying to kind of get away from the Red Knight?
They see themselves as, if it's not the ancients, why can't they rule?
Right. It makes sense. But my thought is like if their their idea is we're these hugely powerful, intelligent, perfect beings and we're basically we were created to do the whim of somebody else. You would think they would want to go somewhere else to rule or to create. But nothing's ever been confirmed or even guessed at.
No, if you want to say you're looking through books and looking for an hypothesis by other scholars and such, some believe they found an area of their own to live. Um, some believe they're in hiding. Um, and that's it. Everything else is just wild speculation.
Okay. So, hmm. Okay. No information about the other dragons who stayed behind, is there?
No.
Do you know who they are?
Yes.
All 1 through 4 of them?
Yeah.
Do we know them in game?
No.
Oh, okay. How about this? Let's go down a different track. Can I find any books about the clouds above Andaria that Abyssia traveled to?
Okay. You again putting together from different books. You put together what you believe to be that these are the queen. You've so in Only Dungeon you've encountered the queen. You probably have a certain opinion of her and what she's like. The queen almost made not almost the queen made a race of creatures that she believed to be worthy of Andar, and they live as close to Andar as they possibly can. And these would be the equivalent of what is called angels.
The queen created the angels?
Yes, in the beginning, in the very beginning, in a way to appease Andar, whether he cared or whether or not, that's unknown. But she did that to kind of like she. It's almost like she created. Some people create things to build them and watch them nourish. She didn't create that way. That's not how she works. She created things for herself to feel beloved or to feel powerful or to maneuver something.
Why Andar?
In the beginning, she sought who she thought was the most powerful.
Regardless of that not being her father.
She thought Andar was more powerful than Dragano. He's not captured. He's in the sky. He's free.
Ah.
Now, when she saw she couldn't make favor with Andar, and she couldn't do anything else, she couldn't make any progress, she then did the same thing for Dragano. She created demons. Same creation, except turned by the light of Andar Dragano. And that's why they're polar opposites.
Okay. What about any information about the angels? How do they live? What do they do? What are their powers?
They live off. They can fly. They live off of the light of Andar. They don't really need to eat food. They do drink water, and they live at the cusp between what would be considered space and Andaria.
Is there any purpose that they serve?
Um, from stories that people saying they've met one, they've conversed with them telepathically. They believe those stories far and few between. They say that they believe their existence is to serve Andar.
Okay. What about books on magic?
Okay.
Is there any book about how to combat magic in a non-magical way? Like Hogar's looking at this from his point of view. Like
There,
he feels that he's a good fighter, but whenever someone introduces magic into the equation, he feels like it doesn't stand a chance.
You find that there are people who talk about items being made for those that are non-magical to protect them from those with magic. Um, the only thing that could be considered a protection verse would be someone utilizing light in different ways, and people talk about the monks of the keeper doing such things. The monks don't consider what they do magic; they consider they're harvesting and cultivating the light from Andar into ways that are supernatural. So again, they are using magic in a sense, but it's not how they believe it. That's what you come across.
Monks. Where are they?
Paladins have this ability to a degree also. Again, they believe it's through light, through the same thing, all from the same place. The monks are in our light.
Okay.
I'll let you ask me one more thing, and then we're going to end your 7 year gap of quest for knowledge of what you've learned.
Okay.
So ask me one more topic.
The lion. Is there anything about the lion and how he was captured and imprisoned?
You said that the lion isn't captured in solid ice. It's at the base of the castle of the queen. The Castle of the Queen is a castle that exists in all three levels, the overworld, the dark, and even in the core. And that there's millions and millions of people that exist within her castle. And it's believed that they say that, and the people that exist in there aren't talking because they're super loyal to the Queen, that her crystal exists within the very fortress. So um, the lion led an army. And because he got close enough to the crystal in a sense, he had to become mortal. So he turned into his mortal form, and he led um, an army of the size of about 100,000 troops, paladins and knights and beastborn, and all sorts of creatures loyal to him. He did this to try to change the war to make a mad dash for a victory. Um, and when he got close, he was encapsulated by ice. The entire area that he and his troops were in are now just encased.
His troops also.
Yeah, and they say that the magic used to encapsulate him and his army is so powerful that it can't be broken. A few times, drow wizards have made an attempt to travel there. All the attempts have been failures, not always in death, but just failures to do so, as they've tried to sneak and make their way into the queen's realm.
Magical ice, I'm assuming.
Inkling of a kind says, so the queen gave him the cold shoulder. Ouch.
Woo-hoo.
There you go. What was your question?
Magical ice, I'm assuming.
Well, it's both magic and not magic.
Okay.
It's really in front of you. You can touch it. It's physical, but also yes, it's enchanted. It was cast by the queen.
What level is he on?
It's somewhere underneath. It's in the
The
dark.
dark?
Yeah. So it's near the dark.
Near the dark.
Yeah.
Do we have to travel through the fortress to get to the lion?
Do you have to? No. Could you? Yes. If you could survive the fortress.
But you don't have to. You could just travel to the fortress and get to the lion.
You could physically travel to the fortress on any level of Indaria if you wanted to. And if
What
it
I'm
was,
asking is like, is he inside the fortress or is he outside the fortress?
um, in a sense, it's inside the fortress because the fortress is so vast.
Okay.
But you might consider it to be outside, yet those that live in the fortress would consider it to be inside.
The I think I remember you saying once the fortress is so huge that it's almost seen as like its own
It's like a
city.
mega, yeah, it's like a mega city. There's millions and millions of people that exist within the realms of that. Their whole existence is just inside the fortress at all different levels.
Wow. Okay. And they all serve the queen.
Yes, they see her as everything.
Is there anything there about how to melt the ice?
No, there's no way to break the enchantment.
There's no
No,
way to break the enchantment.
no one knows how.
No one knows how. When did that happen?
In the first Celestial War,
Uh, um, Before or after the dragons?
before,
Before. Did the dragons ever visit the lion or the queen's fortress?
unknown.
Unknown. Okay. Anything about whether it's being actively guarded?
Don't know. They don't speak about that.
Okay.
And the queen, just to clarify a couple of things. So the queen right now has the lion in mortal form encapsulated.
Right.
She doesn't have his crystal. She has the form in consciousness. Well, yeah, in mortal form as well. But now, right now, he's in his conscious state. In Ganderstone for the collector, she has the collector imprisoned. In a sense, the Red Knight. I'm talking about the future, so I won't go into that. But yeah, at this time period, that's basically what she has.
Well, we know she has the archmage as well, right?
Mm, mm, can't answer.
Oh,
You know the answer to that.
right.
So right now, this I have to mark this Patreon moment. It says Patreon is as of 12/8/20. This is next week will be episode 13 in season 4. As of now in story, you guys know that the ancients can't communicate with you guys because of the consciousness around the world has been invaded by basically the plague from Dragano and Dragano himself to a degree, his consciousness. So when the fire burned the tree and went around the whole planet, they had to escape. The Elven Lord stayed. So the Elven Lord stayed to fight for Andaria. The Red Knight went to his crystal. He didn't want to go to mortal forms. He felt he'd be weak. So he stayed in his crystal. No word on the Archmage. Many think that the Archmage has been um, taken prisoner or captured. They don't know what it is, but you do know that he can't exist in that realm. Whether he's captured or something else, you don't know.
Wait,
So
I don't know who.
no ancient can exist while the tree is burning and Dragano is partly in the world, in the essence that he was. He never completely was in. Um, they had to flee that consciousness, that ego, a realm of ego.
Okay. So the queen chose to become mortal.
Right,
The elven lord stayed there,
right,
putting himself in great danger.
right.
Um, I mean, Hogar wouldn't know this, so I guess I'm asking you out of game.
Yeah.
When the elven lord died in the ego realm, do we know anything about his crystal?
I don't think it doesn't really hurt anything to tell you. Again, I'm dropping secret bombs here. Basically, his crystal was in the tree.
Was?
Yeah, it's disintegrated. It was the only thing helping keeping the tree alive, since the spell was not completely broken because Tom's ring was still there. The ring of Endari was still not broken. So there's a remnant of the spell there, and it would have been completely gone if not for the Elven Lord using his own light with the remnants of that spell from the ring of Mendaria to keep the tree going as protection.
So his crystal was gone because
Now
of the
it's
plague.
gone. Yeah,
What do you mean now it's gone?
as of recently, it's gone. It's been used up. He's used all of his light and his power and his energy to maintain the tree.
Ah. So when he died, he really died.
He died, yes. And you were because that wasn't physical world, that was the ego world. So he died in the ego world, and that was him just like using all of his consciousness and his light and forcing you together to try to fight it.
I see. So he died in expending all of his energy by sucking all the light energy out of the crystal.
Yes, his own soul crystal.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay, I see. We don't know how to destroy a crystal, do we?
No,
Or even if it's possible.
no.
Yeah.
I
So
will
we
tell you.
know one.
Okay.
I was gonna say we know one way to kill an ancient now, then, or indirectly kill an ancient. If we
How?
could just make if we could just make them expend enough of the light from the crystal.
Yes, you know that absolutely. Yes, if they ran out of essence or light in the crystal, they would be done because that is everything they are.
Yeah.
I will tell you this one more thing you would learn, which I think is an interesting fact. I'm waiting for this to come up, but I think that this is a good time to put it out there. Is you know that if an ancient was killed in a mortal state, if they weren't trapped, they could reform after a while, but they would be gone for a while.
So their crystal is almost like a Horcrux.
Yes, and then they
Okay.
exist outside of it as consciousness or as mortal form, whatever form they want to take. If you kill them outside of the crystal, it's almost like you've tempered the storm for a long time. But then they would reappear and reemerge unless the crystal was destroyed.
Now, does that take a great effort to become mortal for an ancient?
No, no,
Hmm? No,
no.
but they still do have to mortal again. They can't be become mortal again.
Immortal. If a creature, if an ancient was mortal, sorry, just say it to clearly.
I know.
If an ancient was mortal and
Yes.
they were killed,
Yes.
it would take a long time to reform. You don't know how long it would take. In the case
Well,
of in the case of the Lion the Collector, they were trapped.
right. So they're just kind of neutralized.
They're stuck in between. They're neutralized. Exactly. Exactly.
So if they're killed in mortal form, they have to wait a long time to reform. But can they appear in the ego world?
You don't know. You
Okay.
think no. You
Okay.
think they would be like out. They'd be like in an unconscious state, in a sense.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I think that's a good spot to end this. Just so you know, we didn't even go into a little bit of what I have
What?
planned. So we spent, which was fantastic though, because we went into all the time in between if you're reading the books and everything else. but I didn't think that you would go so far into the books. But it's great because it's all information that's not out there that you were able to find out in many
Yeah,
years of being imprisoned. So,
I was looking for that from the beginning too. With Hogar, he just wanted to find some books. He wanted to learn about the ancients.
oh, good.
Really, he wanted to find out how to kill an ancient because he's well at that time at least he's got he's got that stuff on his mind. But it's good to find out whatever he can.
So tomorrow we're gonna play in real life in one of the episodes. I really wanted you to to play through an area. It's very very important so that it would you would know and have it in your memory for when you play forward. But it's just not this is not going to happen. So that's it. This is the end of the episode.
All right.
This is good. So this just a bookend. This was the 7 years in between when Hogar was trapped by Zerilius in Solst to the moment where something happens. You know what? Let's play this right now. When you're reading, this is another day. You're reading a book, and your latest book you're reading now is about the Lion and the Ancients, and you're cross-referencing books, and you're reading books back and forth. Um, Suddenly, a wizard comes in. He walks in, investigates the room, um, turns around. It says it's all right, and you see four other wizards come in. The first time anything like this has ever happened. Again, it's 7 years after, and the wizard addresses you directly. He says, "You'll be coming with me for an audience with Cyrilius."
Who are you?
That's not important. You will come with me, and you will make haste, and you will not attempt to escape.
When out of game, when was the last time I spoke to Zerilius?
7 years ago.
Zerilius hasn't spoken to me in 7 years. Why does he want me now?
That is for him to let you know.
Okay.
Okay, they cast a spell. You see, they put shackles on you and they cast a spell, and your hands kind of like they come together. They take you through the halls. You're walking outside in areas you haven't seen in a long time. It's so strange to you. And finally, they take you down to the massive throne room where you saw Aurelius, and there's all wizards around the room. And in this case, it seems to be a lot of nobles, a lot of noble wizards. Everybody's a wizard, pretty much. Everybody has magic of some kind. There's all sorts of guards. There's lots of lots of different parties of people in the room. And when you walk in, they bring you through, and a kind of like a large crowd of people, there's a couple of hundred people in this grand hall, kind of like hush a bit. And Aurelius is sitting in the throne. To you, he looks a little bit older. 7 years have passed. And you walk up, and you look to your right. Besides Aurelius in the center at the throne, you look to your right, and you see a man with like a tattered red cape with a crown on his head, and there's a couple of other individuals behind him. And the man looks at you and kind of smiles and like gives you a nod. Aurelius, well, I see the 7 years have been kind to you. Have you enjoyed your reading?
I've read a lot, Zerilius. Yes.
Well, good. I hope you are a better man for it. But now we have other things. For today, we rejuvenate the alliance of the Red City and Solst. I wish for you to meet Kanos. You see the man. You look over. You see Kanos there, and Kanos like nods once again.
Kanos?
You will remember. He looks back to Zerilius. You remember, Zerilius, that I have taken control of the kingdom completely, and I am king, the true king of the Red City, and I have purpose for you, Hogar, the half giant. And that's where we're going to stop. Okay, guys. So, guys, thank you for joining up. Any fans who caught this, thank you for catching it. Dan, we have to get the next part as soon as possible. Again,
Okay.
I was hoping for tomorrow you'd have it done, but it's okay. We'll work it out. Maybe we can do it Thursday or sometime soon. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was Hogar's journey, the next chapter. Tony Hansen, joined by Dan Isgro. Guys, thank you for joining us today. And we will see you soon on Audio Dungeon. If you're not already a fan of Audio Dungeon, check it out 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday night. Guys, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.